and in the court of public opinion. Joining me now is Democratic Congresswoman Donna Edwards, Democrat from Maryland, and a proud member of the Progressive Caucus. Thank you for being here tonight, Congresswoman.
Thank you, Reverend Al.
Congresswoman Edwards, do Republicans really think they spin these new laws as anything other than what they are, voter suppression?
Well, I think increasingly what we're seeing from the GOP is that they're actually not hiding what they're doing. I mean, they say blatantly that they're trying to, suppress the vote among African Americans, that they're trying to do that with, Democrats versus Republicans in some of these states. And so they're actually not hiding what they're doing anymore. What really is shocking is that they're laying it at the steps, for example, of voter fraud. You show those percentages, and I did the calculation too, and those are only alleged cases. It's not even proven cases of voter fraud.
That's correct.
And so it really greatly exaggerates what's going on, and it clearly is an attempt to hold down Democratic votes, and we know that a majority of African Americans and Latinos are voting for Democrats.
Interesting you bring that up, because North Carolina Governor Pat McCrory, he was asked about voter suppression and whether the laws favor the Republicans, and listen to what he said.
When people hear this, they're going to be thinking, well, if you make people have a photo ID, you're going to reduce the number of voters of color. If you don't do this pre-registration program, you're going to reduce the number of young voters. These are all good things for Republicans and bad things for Democrats.
There are absolutely no statistics that back that up. I think what you should be asking is, why would people be against having a basic photo ID?
And the answer is yes, there is data to back it up. But secondly, Congresswoman, I don't think anyone is against basic ID. We're saying we use basic ID now. Why do we need new ID? I mean, no one votes without ID. Why all of a sudden do we need these new forms of ID that they know a lot of people don't have? Why can't we use ID we always had?
That's right, and it's also in the absence of any proof that there's a problem that needs to be fixed or solved. I mean, that is what we're dealing with here. And in North Carolina, you have several 100,000 people who actually don't have any ID because they don't drive, because they're older, and those instances, what you're saying to people is that we don't value your vote.
Right.
And I think that that is the problem with what's happening across the country, and I'm glad the Justice Department is moving forward in Texas. I want them to do that in North Carolina,
yes,
and any other state that has, put in place these laws that are really going to be damaging to people's right to vote.
And that's the real point. People have been voting for years with their ID. There's been no widespread fraud, yet you come in with a new program. It is a solution looking for a problem rather than a problem in need of a solution. And one of the people who just filed a lawsuit over North Carolina's voting suppression law is 92-year-old Rosa Nell Eaton, who has compared this new voter ID law to the literacy test she faced during the Jim Crow era. Listen to this 92-year-old voter.
Here I am, at 92 years old, doing the same battling. We need more, not less, public access to the ballot.
That's right.
At the age of 92, I am fed up and fired up.
92 years old, saying it's the same thing. She's fed up and fired up, standing there with Reverend William Barber. People are calling them out on this.
Well, that's right, and you know what? I am so proud to be a North Carolinian because, she really is fed up.
I think that and the thing about this that really bothers me is that these are the same conservatives that talk about responsibility and family values. What is more responsible than to let people vote? Then why are you putting all of these obstacles in the way of them doing the most responsible, the most civic responsible thing they could do? You say, be responsible, do what's right, lift yourself up, but if you got to vote, I'm going to give 7 different cancellation of things that have no evidence that it leads to fraud. I mean, what are they doing other than attempting to suppress the vote?
Well, and, you know, Reverend Al, voting is the real fundamental to participation in our system. And when I look at Mrs. Eaton and I see what she's been through, the literacy test that she had to go through, I mean, she remembers, you know, really when it was difficult, and now she's having to relive the same thing at 92. It really is unfair, and I'm glad the Justice Department has stepped in. And now it's time for the Congress to do our part in making sure that we ensure voting rights for all Americans.
Congresswoman Donna Edwards, thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Coming up, Republicans are doing